Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world watching this. I welcome you. This is for Women of Truth. My name is Helenique Arjuru. We are so excited about the woman we speak to, and there could not be a day more exciting than today because I get to speak to a really incredible lady with a unique talent. Her name is Jill Lublin. And Jill is someone that crossed my path totally by chance, serendipitously, and it opened a really beautiful relationship and a powerful connection because she's helped me do something that I think many of you are going to be really interested to learn about. So Jill is actually a master publicist and she's a strategist. So she's a publicity strategist and actually a 4 times best-selling author herself, an international speaker, and she is helping women, men, anyone who's really ready to publish a book in the European sector and the international world sector, as well as America itself, with all kinds of publicity strategies and specifically publishing books. She's really a master at this. And she also helps you get book deals globally. And if you are a self-published author and you want to go global, she's able to help you get what we call the foreign rights deals. And she's going to tell us a little bit about the work she does. But first, let's just welcome her and warmly share with you that we see you as a woman of truth, someone who stands in integrity, and we would love to hear about your personal journey. So welcome, and thank you so much for joining us, Jill.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here with you.
Great. So you talk about different ways of helping people strategize their publicity, and I know one area that we've worked together is in you helping me get a little bit clearer about what it takes to be a published author, and we're working on strategies to do that. So can you share with people listening, what does a publicity strategist do and what are you really specialized in?
Sure. Well, one of the things I'm big on is that you must have a powerful message and one that really translates. And I find that most business owners, whatever you're doing, whether you're a consultant, a coach, whether you have a real product or a brick and mortar store, the truth is it's always about getting a message right that translates to the marketplace. And so one of the things I am a specialist in is getting that message right. And then I also help people with real world PR strategies to actually get the implementation going and to actually reach media and then what to say to media. So I take people through the whole curve of what it means to be in the public, to get your credibility up, to drive your visibility up, frankly, to get more prospects and profits. We love that, right? And I find that publicity is an amazing, credible strategy to do that with. It builds your trust factor. So I'm helping at all phases in the publicity journey, from the messaging to the implementation, and, get it done. And I do this through publicity classes and one-on-one consulting.
Fantastic. I mean, you hit on so many important points. People are finding this whole lead generation online way more complex than it used to be in the old style of business. So when you talked about creating trust, can you just say something a bit more about that? How your publicity needs to be very targeted and really has powerful message. You say that you help women, in our case, it would be women here, get their message really right so that they can create more trust. Can you give us just some insight in how that really works for lead generation to improve and get much more reliable?
Sure. Listen, I've been doing publicity for over 24 years. I've seen a lot of changes, obviously, and we do it differently now. And what I've also seen is that it is a very powerful strategy to lead gen. I can tell you, I was working with a woman who has a pet sitting service, and that's what she does, right? One article drove 50 leads to her, and she closed 40 clients because of it from one article. So how powerful is that? That's what I really know about what publicity does. It drives people to you, prospects, interested parties. One of my clients got 3 speaking engagements from it. It just depends what you want and what your goals and targets are. But one thing that's certain is the power of publicity to make that work for you. It's like a wheel that keeps spinning, right? Even when you're sleeping. And what I love about it also is that it reaches so many people at once in a very simple way that actually is free, meaning you don't pay for it. It's not advertising. This is publicity, which means someone writes an article about you, you're on a podcast or blog, you're being interviewed, whatever it is, it's free. And I just want to make that distinction because people often will confuse advertising and publicity. So always know that publicity should not cost you anything from a media standpoint. The media does not charge you for it.
Very, very important to remember is that it is a way that you can get this visibility without paying for it, and the credibility that comes with that. So really
and trust. I really want to say trust, because I think that when people see your name, I call it the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. When people see your name and hear about you and see you in multiple profiles, and they won't remember where often, and it doesn't actually matter. You can do everything from your local women's organization, chambers of commerce. You can be in the daily paper, podcast, blogs, your social media. It's all publicity.
Yeah,
so that's another distinction.
Absolutely, giving us so many great tips about how to really warm your audience and really build this trust with potential clients and leads. So important to have that kind of credibility. I know that's something we take quite seriously. And also then looking at you and your journey, I'm really interested to know what for you was a breakthrough in your life, because as women of truth, we look a little bit at what sets certain women apart. Let's say that they have realized something, and I think everybody does, obviously at different times in life, and there might be many breakthroughs, but we're looking for one that you'd be willing to share with us that actually taught you something specific about life, like maybe a lesson for life that you learned. So is there something you could share with us, a real breakthrough in Jill Lublin's life that showed you something profound about the world?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that happened. I actually fell and fractured both ankles in multiple places.
Wow.
And ended up in a wheelchair for 5 months, count them, 5 months. And let me share with you, and plus I was in another country. I was in Canada when it happened, which has made it difficult to travel back. And, one thing, it's interesting because I'd always been a do-it-yourself type, meaning, oh, I can do this, I'm Superwoman. I'm sure many of you can relate to this, right? I can handle it all, just like we women are taught.
Yeah.
And then, when I fell and fractured both ankles, there was nothing to do. I was in a wheelchair for 5 months. I had to have a caregiver. I had to rely on my partner a lot, my husband, to do things for me and with me. I couldn't drive. I couldn't make meals. Okay, that was my favorite part. But because, I couldn't get in the kitchen. I couldn't even get in my bedroom. I had to sleep on a pull-out couch and use a commode. It was really not a good time, and it was tough. And I remember asking God, all right, what is this about? And I remember the message stopped in my tracks, right? Because I was doing and going and rushing, and I still am a very effective, I produce a lot of results. I'm that kind of person.
Yeah.
I think though maybe I wasn't going in the right direction, and so one of the things that happened as a result of that, as soon as I could get my brain together, because when you're injured, everything goes into trauma, including the brain and the thinking and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So I realized that I'd gotten into media to help with positive and inspiring messages, and what I started right away was doing a TV show called Messages of Hope. And you actually can see it when you go on my website, Messages of Hope TV. And it's also on jilllublin.com. I have some segments on there. And I started actually interviewing people with great messages and positive stories. And what I learned, was so much. And I just loved it. I did multiple, many segments on it, close to 100, interviewing amazing people with great stories. Some you've heard of and some you've never heard of. And that really brought me back to my purpose, which is the positive impact that media makes. And that I've always known and been convinced of. This took it to another level. And I do more self-care now. I'm more careful with my schedule, just different things that I learned because I had to. That doesn't mean I don't do a lot, I do. And I have much more self-care and, much more just like when something is not right in that moment, I will call a consulting client, and I might say, is it okay if we reschedule?
Right.
I don't necessarily tell them all the reasons, but I just pay more attention to my energy, because I know when my energy's good, I can really produce much better results, and I can give more to my clients and those I speak in front of and where I travel all around the world, right? And that's what I want to show up for, is the people that I'm serving.
Fantastic.
And myself, right?
That's what you really got. And I think it's such an important message for most women that are ambitious, driven, producing, effective, is how to really take really good care of ourselves, and then to learn the refinement of our message. And I think your story shares that really well. But also I get an insight then into you and how important it's been for you to really help people get their positive message out there. And that's really important. So for women listening, if you have something that you feel really creates a unique impact in the world, or if you are still busy refining what that is, it sounds like getting this kind of supportive help from somebody that's really skilled, has great expertise in the industry. I mean, I know you've shared with me, Jill, in private, that you have a long history in publicity. You've done different types of it in the past, and you really are quite a specialist in publications and publishing. So I get that very, very strong from you, that it's so important for you to give the best to your clients, and that's something you learned early on. The small little girl, the Jill Lublin that we never got to see as a little girl, and the woman you are now, this wise woman that's learned from all of life, 24 years in the industry. What advice would you give her, the little 8-year-old girl, about the world?
Mm. Well, number one, probably that it would be okay. She'd grow into a wonderful, wise woman, because, I, like most people, probably, had a chaotic childhood, parents that weren't really loving or responsible. It made me the responsible one, funny enough. I mean, at one level, it of course taught me self-love and responsibility, which I think is great and serves me well now from me and my clients.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. But she was scared. She was in a dysfunctional family that didn't feel real good. She didn't get the love she needed. So I would probably love her up a lot more, and also honor the creative side of Jill. I'm very effective business-wise, and there's a highly creative side to me too, which I actually bring to all my clients and use in my business now. But what's interesting is I don't think that part really got, shall we say, emphasized and brought out. So it's interesting. So here's the part about like taking care of yourself now. So there's a part of me that, I'm not good at crafts. I'm not artistic, but actually I'm very artistic. I'm very creative, just in different ways. Like I don't know how to paint per se. And so you know what I did? I started what I call crafts night. And I just invite women over, and there's no structure, and you get to work on whatever you want, and there's no rules, and nobody's working on the same thing. Everybody just does what they want. And you know what? It is so fun. And I'm just having a blast. We just all do fun projects, whatever we want.
How cool
And
is
so isn't that fun? And that's because of
just hanging out. Wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's related to, healing parts of the past that I'm like, I'm going to have crafts night. We're just going to have fun.
And I think so many women can relate to that, because obviously we all would want to believe that we had perfect this and perfect that. But the reality is, many women have a lot of struggles and challenges, as does every human being. So it's nice to know that put very clearly to you the importance of responsibility, and helped also create the creativity as very important for you. We
Thank
asked
you.
the question for most women as our most focused area of research is the biggest lie that you think women believe, and what you think is the truth. Because a lot of what the work we're doing is trying to revolutionize female leadership and create the new femininity. And, we probably all have an easy way to answer that. But I think when you ask all the women that I'm asking, it's really interesting to hear everyone's answer in their own individual way. What would you say you noticed, maybe even in the clients you work with, maybe other women, maybe along your life journey, the biggest lie that you think women believe, and the truth?
There's something about a diminishment for women in particular. I've noticed, because I specialize in publicity, that women in particular have a hard time promoting themselves.
Right.
And that there's some part of them that is afraid of it, that doesn't want to speak how brilliant and fabulous they truly are, or
Yes.
how gifted they are. But, you know, like when I work with men and how they describe themselves and their message, completely different, completely out there, completely expanded. Women, on the other hand, are much more contracted, are much more quiet, much more diminished. And I really have to like pull from them much more so, their fabulousness, as I like to call it. And, you know, not in all cases. I'm just saying there's a certain programming that women have bought into, that is, I'm not good enough, I'm not talented enough, I don't deserve to make as much money, I'm not as powerful. It's multiple. It's in multiple areas, actually, but it is about their own power. And so that, for me, is a lie about how powerful women really are.
Absolutely. And what would you say the truth is?
The truth is that women are incredibly powerful. It is in a beautiful, different way than men. And I think that's our power, actually. You know, the feminine, the softness, even the sometimes more quiet approach to leadership, or the womanly approach to leadership. Meaning, you know, women have an ability to, I call it like octopussing. You know, we can do so many things. It's just amazing. Men can't, funny enough. I find, you know, men do one thing. They're like narrow focus. Women, if you talk to them in a conversation, we can have 5 conversations in the span of 20 minutes. We're just good at it. So I think that is the truth, that women are multi-talented, multifaceted, incredibly powerful, incredibly expansive, and incredibly dynamic at who we are and what we do.
I met you at this women's event in Amsterdam, and it's my next question is, what do you think about these gatherings? I mean, part of me is a bit bored and tired that we still have them. Many women I know share that sentiment. Others think they're really important. What's your take on it, and what would you add to that? You shared something really priceless
Mm.
about how careful we are about putting ourselves out there, and I know a lot of women are very scared of that. And as a publicist, you obviously bounce into that often. Looking at those events, looking at what's happening, do you see that shifting? What would you say about these women's gatherings?
Well, first of all, I do think they're actually quite important. I do think it's a wonderful opportunity for women to come together to share with each other different cultures, different backgrounds, all of it, I think is really important. So I like it. Here's what I want more of. I want more of this. Real conversations with wonderful people like you who have tribes and share, and are leaders in their fields, you know, because most of the women we meet are at those kinds of places are at a decently high level. I mean, not all, but many of them. So I want to know how I can help them. I want to know what you need in terms of support. And so I think more talking between us, more actual networking time, more making requests of each other. I'm part of something that we call it CEO space. And we actually go in circles and we do get to make requests of each other. So I know what that feels like, to actually ask for what you need and receive cards and support from people who actually really want to help. It's powerful. I think that's a bit missing from a lot of these conferences, is actual real interaction time, eye to eye, heart to heart, where we just get to ask for what we need next and how we can support each other.
Yeah, well said, Jill. I think that's really important. And it gives me some encouragement that we are doing something important then, to also have a deeper conversation and to encourage that
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Tell us about what you're most passionate about now in your life as a strategist with so much experience. What are you working on right now, and what can people look forward to if they work with you or if they follow you? I know you have some special offers as well. Tell us about that.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you. Well, what I'm working on now, my latest book is called The Profit of Kindness, and I'm very committed to taking kindness to the marketplace and having people operate from that perspective. We live in a very chaotic world right now, and you know, I think the best we can do is to be kind to ourselves and to each other, and really raise that level of frequency, vibration, and connection, and support each other. That is powerful. So to that end, I'm working on a kindness conference, looking like it's going to be in February 2020, where we will bring people together to talk about kindness in business. So I'm really excited about that. And we will form kindness circles, asking for exactly what I told you before, that you get to ask for what you need next. So love that. And so that's what I'm working on right now. And also I'm working on always delivering my best in what I call my Publicity Crash Course. And I teach it on live Zoom, just like this, live with people. And I also do them in many cities throughout the United States. But same great course. So that's something I've been doing with people ongoingly, and definitely would love to, if any of you are interested to be in that course. Should I tell them how to do that?
Please do, yes. If anyone's wanting to know how to study with you, that it would be great if you could give them details. Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you check out publicitycrashcourse.com, you can pick a Zoom course that works. It's a set of 3 sessions, and I actually work on your publicity with you. I overview your documents and then give you templates that you can use forever for the life of the project you're working on and any other one. But we are actually getting your publicity done. So when you go to publicitycrashcourse.com, do me a favor and type in the code publicity, and that'll give you almost half off, which is great. And come on Zoom with me and let me really support you with your publicity. And maybe you can put that in the notes too, would be marvelous. That'd be great. And then if you're interested to talk to me about getting a major book deal, you don't have to have anything written. Talk to me about that. Or if you already are a self-published author, I'd love to help you get foreign rights deals. And feel free to email us. It's info@jilllublin.com. Lots of L's in there. info@Jill, and then LUB as in boy, LIN as in Nancy.com.
And that's so exciting to me, Jill. I think when I met you, I had a little bit of an idea of what you do, but when I finally spoke to you, you opened up so many opportunities. And I just want to let people know also that you work internationally. So I'm based
Absolutely.
here in America. You had options for me to actually look at publicity for the book that I was writing in, and then there were some other options for, I think, Scotland and Edinburgh. So you obviously have a very wide network. So if anybody wanted to have a consultation with you, why not a candidate? I think what I like also is that you give us a very honest feedback on whether this book is, something that can be written with the way you've got it currently, or if you need some of that tweaking that obviously you can offer after so many years of working on people's books. And I know you've published some incredible authors, so I just wanted to recap that. There's a website you can go to. It's there's a website for the crash course that you go to for publicitycrashcourse.com. That gets you connected to the live Zoom trainings, which are about 3 sessions. But then if you want to know more about book deals and publications, you can then contact Jill on info@jilllublin.com. And we'll put all of this on the video link so that you get the correct spelling. It's been really great talking to you, and I think you are like a little fairy godmother for people that need some hardcore information and real help, because there are so many people out there offering this kind of support, but I don't think they don't have the experience or the scope or the spectrum or the network that you do, which I think is so important. And I want to now give everybody a chance to capture your wisdom, Jill, in 3 words. We end our interviews almost like a prayer to those who've never listened, to those who have things that you think are really important on the life journey that you've lived, and for others to remember. Maybe they can be 3 words connected, or they totally separate. We don't mind. What would you say are 3 words for our audience to keep close?
Wow. Okay. I love that. Commitment.
Right.
Kindness.
Right.
And love.
Beautiful. Commitment, kindness, and love. And these are applying to business and to life itself, because because as you shared with us, you are even taking kindness to the marketplace in February 2020. So we wish you the best with that and with everything else you do. And if anybody needs to get in touch with you, they can follow these links that we've given them. And it's really nice to know that you're out there helping really important people put positive messages out. So thanks so much for your time, and let's meet again sometime soon.
I'd love that. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Jill, for your time.